In a crowded city where life moved faster than the traffic lights, lived a young man named Aiden. He was 24, full of dreams, but stuck in a loop of self-doubt. Every time he tried to improve himself, whether it was learning English, a new skill, or simply speaking with confidence, he found himself trapped by fear. Fear of making mistakes, fear of being judged, and fear of failing before even starting. Aiden worked at a small mobile repair shop. Foreign customers often visited, but he could never speak to them properly because of his weak English. Every time he failed to communicate, he felt a pinch in his heart. He wanted to grow, to earn more, to open his own shop one day, and to travel the world, but his lack of English became a wall he couldn't climb. One evening, after another awkward moment with a customer, he sat alone outside the shop. The sunset painted the sky orange, and Aiden whispered to himself, "Why can't I speak English? Why am I so slow? Why can others do it easily but not me?" At that moment, an old man approached him. He was a retired professor named Mr. Reynolds, known for his calm nature and powerful way of teaching. He had watched Aiden struggle for months. "You look troubled," the professor said gently. Aiden sighed. "Sir, I want to improve. I want to learn English fast. But no matter how much I try, I stay the same." The professor smiled. "You don't need more books. You need a new mindset." Aiden looked confused. "Mindset, yes," the professor continued. "Learning anything fast begins with how you think, not what you study. If you don't change your thinking, you will repeat the same mistakes forever." He then offered Aiden a deal. "If you follow my guidance for 30 days, without skipping a single day, I promise you will speak better than you ever imagined." Aiden hesitated, but something inside him said, "This is your chance." He nodded. "I'll do it." Day 1. Break the fear. The professor's first rule was simple. Speak, even if you speak wrong. He explained, nobody learns by being perfect. A child learns to walk only after falling 100 times. The same goes for English. Aiden practiced speaking in front of a mirror. His voice trembled, his words were broken, but he didn't stop. That night, he spoke English for the first time without judging himself. Day 7. Think in English. The professor told him, translate nothing. Think directly in English. Your brain learns faster when you stop switching languages. Aiden began describing everything he saw in English. The sky is blue, the road is busy, I am walking to the shop. In the beginning it felt strange. But slowly, his thoughts started to shift. Day 10. Small daily practice. Instead of studying for 2 hours once a week, the professor gave him a better technique. Practice 20 minutes every day. Small habits build big skills. Aiden followed it strictly. He watched short English videos, repeated sentences, and learned 10 new words daily. Day 15. Use entertainment. The professor smiled and said, "Do you like movies?" Aiden nodded. Then use them. Learn from fun, not pressure. Watch English movies with subtitles. Pause, repeat, learn expressions. Suddenly, learning didn't feel like studying anymore. It felt like fun. Day 18. The confidence shift. Aiden spoke to his first foreign customer. Broken English, wrong grammar, but full of courage. The customer smiled and said, "Good job. You're learning fast." That one sentence boosted Aiden's confidence more than any book ever could. Day 21. Learn from mistakes. Instead of feeling embarrassed, Aiden started noting his mistakes. He wrote, "I said you is, correct as you are. I said he do, correct as he does." Each mistake became a teacher. Day 25. Surround yourself with English. The professor said, "Your environment shapes your speed." Aiden changed the language of his phone, watched English videos, listened to motivational speeches while eating breakfast, and followed English pages on social media. English became a part of his life, not a separate subject. Day 29. The transformation. Aiden recorded a video of himself speaking English. When he compared it with his first day, tears filled his eyes. His voice was stronger, his sentences flowed naturally, he could express himself without pausing. Day 30. The realization. The professor met him again. "You did well," he said. "Now tell me, what was the real secret?" Aiden thought for a moment and replied, "It wasn't grammar, it wasn't vocabulary, it was consistency, courage, and mindset. The moment I stopped fearing mistakes, everything changed." The professor nodded. "That is how you learn anything fast. Not just English, any skill, any goal, any dream." Aiden smiled, stronger than ever before. For the first time in his life, he felt unstoppable. His journey had just begun. But now he had the mindset to conquer anything. silence filled the small rehabilitation room where Ayla had been placed after the raid. She sat on the edge of the metal bed, her shoulders tense, her eyes sharp like a cornered animal. Every sound made her flinch. Every shadow made her suspicious. She didn't trust anyone, not the doctors, not the officers, not the voices that called her name gently. She didn't even trust herself. For 18 years, she had been conditioned to believe that kindness was a trap, comfort was a lie, and love was a weakness. So when the door opened softly and two strangers stepped inside, an aging man with trembling hands and a woman whose eyes were overflowing with tears, Ayla stiffened, ready to defend herself. But the strangers didn't move closer. They didn't touch her. They only looked at her with a pain so deep that even Ayla could feel it in the air. "Ayla," the woman whispered in a trembling voice. Just one word, one name, like a forgotten melody. Ayla's heartbeat stumbled. She didn't know why. The man stepped forward, his voice breaking as he said, "We have waited for you for 18 years, my daughter." Daughter, a word that meant nothing to her, and yet everything. Ayla's brows pulled together in confusion. She didn't remember them. She didn't remember a home. She didn't remember being loved. All she remembered were dark walls, cold commands, and the harsh voice of the group leader who had shaped her entire life. But as she looked into the strangers' eyes filled with something she had never seen before, a strange ache rose inside her chest. A distant memory flickered like a weak flame. A tiny girl, a small house, warm hands fixing her hair, a man carrying her on his shoulders, a woman humming lullabies before she slept. But the images faded as quickly as they came, leaving her with a splitting headache. "Stop," she whispered, clutching her temples. "I don't know you." The woman cried harder, but not a single sound came out. The man closed his eyes as if he had been stabbed. An officer stepped forward gently. "These are your parents, Ayla. The DNA confirms everything." But Ayla shook her head violently, backing away. "My family is gone," she hissed. "They told me no one ever wanted me. They told me I was abandoned." The officer swallowed hard. They lied. Those two words were like a thunderbolt inside her mind. They lied. If they lied about that, what else had they lied about? Was her entire life built on lies? Star the battle within. Over the next weeks, Ayla remained in rehabilitation. She didn't speak much. She didn't sleep much either. Every time she closed her eyes, memories of her past life fought with the false stories she had been fed for years. Her mind was a battlefield. Meanwhile, Samir and Anaya visited her every day. They didn't force her to remember. They didn't push her to accept them. They only sat with her, quietly, hoping she would feel even a drop of the love they were trying to give. Anaya would bring homemade food and leave it on the table. Samir would bring a new story each day, stories of the little girl Ayla once was. "Do you know," he said one day, "you used to laugh so loudly that the neighbors said your voice sounded like sunshine." Ayla listened without reacting, but something in her hardened expression softened for a second. The process was slow, painfully slow. But healing is never quick. One afternoon, something unexpected happened. Ayla found herself staring at her reflection in the mirror. Her face looked older than her age, her eyes carried the weight of years she never lived freely. And then, like a single spark in the dark, she remembered something. A woman braiding her hair. A gentle voice. A soft kiss on her forehead. It was the first clear memory. When Anaya came to visit that evening, Ayla spoke for the first time in days. "You used to braid my hair, didn't you?" Anaya froze. Tears flooded her eyes instantly. "Yes, my love, every morning." Ayla looked away quickly, as if ashamed of the emotion in her own voice. But inside, the wall had begun to crack. Star the fall of the group. While Ayla fought her internal war, the authorities fought an external one. The criminal group that had kidnapped her wasn't small. They had branches, hidden houses, and leaders scattered in different regions. The raid that rescued Ayla was only the beginning. A special task force was created. Evidence was collected. Survivors came forward with testimonies, stories of being stolen as children, trained to follow orders, threatened with violence, and pushed into illegal activities. The group leader, known as the Whisper, was hunted relentlessly. It took months, but eventually, he was found. The arrest was dramatic. After a long chase, the leader was cornered. Cameras flashed. Officers shouted commands. The world watched as the man responsible for destroying hundreds of childhoods was finally taken down. Among the rescued girls, many recognized him. Many cried, many trembled. Ayla simply stared. No rage, no tears, just silence. Sometimes silence is the loudest scream. Dash dash dash. Star healing the heart. Months passed. Ayla slowly began to accept her parents, not fully, not completely, but enough to let them sit beside her without fear. Enough to allow them to call her Ayla. Enough to feel something. She started therapy. She started speaking more. She started understanding the meaning of a life she had never lived. One day during a session, Ayla asked the counselor, "Why do they still come every day? I am not the girl they lost." The counselor smiled gently. "They don't want the girl you were. They want the woman you are. You don't have to become who you used to be. You just have to become someone you choose to be." Those words hit deeper than anything she had heard before. She didn't have to be the broken girl shaped by cruelty. She didn't have to be the lost child anymore. She could become her own story. That night, when Samir and Anaya came to visit, Ayla finally said the words they had waited 18 years to hear. "Can I go home with you?" Anaya burst into tears and hugged her tightly. Samir placed his hand on her shoulder, whispering a prayer of gratitude. For the first time, Ayla didn't resist the touch. She didn't pull away. She let the warmth sink in. Dash dash dash. Star a new beginning. Home was small but full of memories. Photographs of Ayla as a child were still on the walls. Her old toys were stored in a box. Her room had been kept the same for years, as if her parents believed she might return any moment. When Ayla stepped inside the room for the first time, she felt a strange heaviness. She walked slowly, touching the old wooden bed, the faded curtains, the tiny painting she once made. She picked up a stuffed rabbit from the shelf. Her fingers trembled. "I remember this," she whispered. "I used to sleep with it." Anaya gasped softly behind her. "Yes, Ayla, you never went anywhere without it." Ayla held the toy close. And for the first time in 18 years, she cried, not the silent tears of pain, but the healing tears of someone finding herself again. Her parents held her as she cried, and in that moment, the years of pain began to melt. Ayla wasn't whole yet, but she was no longer lost. She had a home, she had a name, she had a chance to rebuild. She looked at her parents through teary eyes and said, "I will try. I can't promise perfection, but I will try." Samir smiled, his voice steady despite shaking emotions. "That's all we ever wanted." Dash dash dash. Star ending message for your YouTube. Voiceover. Some stories are not about heroes who win battles outside, they are about heroes who win battles inside themselves. Ayla's journey is a reminder that even if darkness steals years from you, the light can still return. Healing is slow, but possible. Love may be delayed, but it never dies. And no matter how far you're taken, you can always find your way home again.